Awesome. Hello and good day. My name is Chris Palmer with chrispalmer.org. In today's local SEO content writing video, what I need to share with you is a site. It's a friend of mine's website. He put up some content. He's done some internal linking. He's put up his pages. They're discovered, but not crawled. They're crawled, but they're not in discovery, right? And he wants to know what are some tips that he could do to refresh his pages, refresh his content in order to get more of his pages seen. So I don't want to waste any time here. Let me share with you exactly what's going on. But before I do, please take the time, check out chrispalmer.org for any and all of your SEO needs. Now let's get over here to the site. All right. So this is Zach. Zach's a buddy of mine. He's been working on some of this himself. And here's the problem that he's having. All right. And you may have been faced with this. Now, I'm not going to get into backlinks, even though we will talk about it. What I'm focused on right now is page refreshing, site refreshing, architecture refreshing, maybe an internal link flow refreshing. You know, oftentimes I talk to business owners and they feel that they've done their best work. They've put up their SEO content, they're letting it sit, and then they forget about it. Set it and forget it. Unfortunately, this is not a cake, right? I love cake. But as far as SEO, it is hurry up and wait. But you have to keep putting your best foot forward. So let's take a look here. We have 63 indexed, 77 not. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at not indexed. And yes, there's tools, but GSC or Google Search Console is what we are looking at here. And everyone has access. If you do not, look up how to get it for your website. It's free. With that being said, let's scroll on down. No index, which is 20. Page with redirect, so that's 29. There's 35 pages out of 77. All right. So 77 minus 35 equals 42. All right. All right. So what we're going to do here too is we're going to write out some notes for this young man, and hopefully you can learn a few things along the way as well. All right. So no index. So excluded no index, page with redirects. All right. So remove pages with these tags. It accounts for 42 pages, right? He's very, very concerned, but he has 40 some pages that, you know, he did it to himself. Crawled, currently not indexed. Now we have an issue here. Duplicate chose the canonical. Let's take a look here. And stick with me. We'll get into more, but I'm just taking a look. All right. So canonical, you may have written it twice. All right. And then 404, and then duplicate crawled not indexed. Okay. Motorcycle, privacy, I see. All right. So I see that you have a blog here with paginated pages, right? And or there are year codes in here. All right. So let's take a look at your sitemaps. All right. Together. All right. And let's see here. Let's take a look at the pages that are actually in. There's 48 of them. Now, mind you, when I talked to Zach the other day, we were sending texts back and forth. He said, hey, listen, Chris, I care about boat, car, motorcycle, title, and then we have areas. All right. Areas is optimized for what exactly? All right. DMV, auto registration. Okay. H1 is just the location. Zach's auto registration. All right. Car registration. Okay, I see a problem here. Could this potentially be one of the issues? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize a advanced site operator. I don't know how advanced it is, but what you do is you type in site colon, and what we want to see is we want to determine what is the sort order of this particular website based on Google. All right. So you go site colon, put your website in, and then look at the sort order. Now, sort orders are based upon density, backlinks, age, a number of factors. But let's see what Google values. All right. So privacy policy. All right. Oh, I see. Registration. Okay. Oh, I see something here. Okay. title and transfer categorized. Ah, so we have a category page being indexed. We're saying, hey, Google, come on over here. There's value here. But then when Google gets there, there's actually no value, nor, I bet you, there's probably no internal links. This tool up here that I'm going to take a look at the internal link flow. Remember, internal links are ways that webmasters like us are able to convey to the bot, hey, this page is important. All right. So that's why we want to take a look at that. So let's extract all links. Yep. Okay. So we are linking the boat. So we have it once on the page. And this is what's important to us. All right. But nonetheless, we're still calling Google to a page that really has no value. Look at the URL. At the end of the day, if this is worth having on the site, let's make it about one of our services, a high commercial intent service. And let's make sure that we're only pointing at that service. So I want to point this out. All right. Getting rid of what I call the dead wood. All right. So here, we're going to put this here. Now, I like to keep it simple. All right. But these are going to be the tips. Okay. This can lead to more pages indexed. This can lead to more traffic. This way, when I call Google to the website, they're only coming to high commercial intent. They're only seeing our best content. All right. So what I want to point out is this. All right. So Zach, pages like this, okay, with little value, linking to every service shows no importance. All right. So what we want to do is, make evergreen content that is supporting one service and link to it twice using varying anchors. All right. And here's what I mean by this. When we take a look at this page, common vehicle registration mistakes. I don't know if mistakes gets volume. We're not going to go through any of that, but who needs vehicle registration? When should I get my vehicle registered? How much does it cost? Who's the best? These types of questions that are very common. Generally, they have volume and high interest. They're actually in the middle of the funnel. They're not in information mode, but they're not in buy mode. They're right in the middle, right? So if they're asking how much it costs or when should I get it done, they're about to be a buyer. We want to service their query and hopefully they remember who we are. All right. With that being said, we want to make sure that we're creating evergreen content based upon a service and we're internally linking using varying anchors. Why? We want to use varying anchors. This way we can maximize the benefit and the importance we're passing from one page to another. Remember, supporting content, yes, it can get traffic, but its goal is there to support high commercial intent. So when we're on this page and I take a look at your links and I see that you have one link that's naked, I'm not taking a look at the anchor text, but I only see one and it's going to every service. What's this article about, right? So what we want to make sure of is this, all right? Pages with, okay, make evergreen content. All right. And then I'll get to the point of this, that is supporting one link and using varying anchors. Example 1, example 2. Okay. So this could be, what is this? Car registration. And then this one would be vehicle registration. All right. Now, I know that this is a local site. And yes, I know that this is a registration and title website. But think about this for your own business, right? How many pages do you have just sitting that you're calling Google, you're still putting them in your sitemap, but they're 404, they don't exist, or they have a no index tag? On top of that, how about pages with little value, linking to every service under the sun, not really supporting anything? On top of that, are you maximizing your internal link flow? Are you telling Googlebot, hey, this is important for this reason? Maximize the value. All right, so that's this right here. And then here's our example down here of a bad page. Not bad, but when you have dates, it shows lack of care to the Gbot, right? lack of care about your website. It's not fresh. It's not new. Google rewards freshness. Google rewards freshness. All right. To update content. All right. Let's say you have a good page. Let's say that it is a good article, but it's dated, it's categorized, it's not in the right section, it's not supporting. You fixed it. Here's some of the things that you can do to freshen supporting content. All right. To get more traffic overall, right? So what we're doing right now is I'm going to give him a tip related to supporting content. When you update it, if he were to come in here and change this up, get these dates out of here, right? Make it evergreen, make it more concise. You with me? Answer the most common questions that have volume that can be evergreen. We're only linking to one service. What can we do that's the least amount of work for the most amount of oomph, right? I want the most bang for my buck, right? If I'm going to spend time, I want an effect. So how do I get this? So Google rewards freshness. To update, all right? Here's what you want to do. My mistake. I never want a spelling bee. To update, change title if dates, unless traffic, right? If there's traffic going there or a bunch of high-powered links, you might want to think twice about switching up the category or the URL permastructure. However, if I want to do the least amount of work, here's what you want to do. Change the title. On top of that, change H tags, increase density, only interlink up to commercial pages, right? Just like this particular example. He's on an auto registration page. Let's use 2, car and vehicle, from the supporting and link up to our registration pages. All right. Now, with that being said, let's keep looking out here because we have uncovered a lot. All right. Okay. On top of that, let's take a look at all these. Yeah, I really don't like these here at all. All right. Oh, here's another example. Okay. You're trying to be clever with the wording. But we have a page here that's indexed, that's being seen. This is an indexed page. All right. Look for examples like this. All right. Look for examples like this. Okay. Now, why this particular example? Well, we already have a page targeting car registration. All right. Remove dupes. All right. Let's keep going here. All right. All right, so we've already addressed the dates. We've already addressed the categorization. We've addressed the internal linking. We've addressed supporting content, supporting one topic. All right. If I'm on a supporting piece of content, I can link up to the same service, different locations, as long as it's in the same state. For instance, this particular website, if I go to boat registration, right? If I head on over here to boat, okay, and I scroll down, all right. Oh, I see another one. I have San Diego, La Mesa, Lemon Grove, El Cajon. These are all in California. This is all about one service. I'm cross-referencing locations in the same state doing the same service. So with that being said, here's what we want to do here. All right. So for instance, internal linking block. All right. I see this on your page here. Internal linking block. Do not just use location modifiers. Include primary term of the page. Example, right? I always like to give an example. If I'm on this page here, okay, and I'm cross-referencing, all right, I want to utilize boat registration, and register boats, right? Or whatever makes sense. Use 2 sections on the page to interlink. All right. So here's our example. I'm sorry, I know it's not big, but Zach will know exactly what I'm talking about. And hopefully you do as well. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in. If there's something I wasn't clear on or something you want me to go back over, please let me know. Cleaning up dead wood, cleaning up your internal link flow, cleaning up anchor text usage within the website, taking away redirects, taking away 404s, cleaning up the website, refreshing the website has a massive impact. I'm only calling Google to fresh, new, good content. And I'm saying, hey, every page on my website is valuable. Look at the internal link flow, right? So let's keep it moving here. So we've just addressed this. Internal linking blocks, use 2, not 1, okay? So this is an internal linking block. He's cross-referencing other boat registration pages. Great. It's at the bottom of the page. That's perfectly fine. Down here, we could do boat registration. Up towards the top, add another one using a varying anchor text. Why? We're increasing the relevance, passing back and forth to all of our boat registration pages. And on top of that, pages rank for more than one keyword. Oftentimes, when you're optimizing your pages for, say, boat registration, there's a secondary term that you want, right? But it doesn't have as much volume. The CPC isn't as high. It's just not as valuable. But why not go after that too? All right. Jack up your density, especially within A tags. Let's move forward. All right. All right. Moving forward, we have car registration, motorcycle registration. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. All right. With some of these new updates, all right, especially in 2025, with the advancements, you have 2 options with this footer. All right. If you would ask me 6 months ago, so footer section, only use top level pages if site wide, or create service specific footers. All right. Now, here's what I mean by this. Top level page, when I click on boat registration, it takes me to the boat registration page. I'm going broad. Inside the URL slug or the permastructure, I'm writing boat registration. The page should probably, it's up to Zach, of course, be optimized either around the county or the state, probably both. So up in the permastructure, you'll go boat registration, but in the title and then the H1, you'll say boat registration California. We'll talk about the counties and, of course, have our 2 internal linking blocks within this page, like this, down in the bottom, also in the top, with our keyword anchor rich text 2 times on the page. When we're down here in the footer, we just have our top level, like this: title transfer, motorcycle, car, and boat. Now that we're doubling up in the most important place, which is the body, we don't need to have a site-wide footer. Unless we're going to make unique footers, I would take this out of here. It's messing up the relevance of your pages. Here's what I mean. Watch this. If I come in here to motorcycle registration, right? I'm on the motorcycle page. I take a look at the density of this page, right? I look at this. Motorcycle, of course, has the highest density. We set it 8 times. But look at this. Car, I set it 36 times. When we scroll down the page here, we can also start to see Control F. How about boat? All right, boat 36 times. All right, so we have this on the page nearly 2%. Yes, we're better optimized for motorcycle, but why throw our pages off, right? If you want to include extra information, include the surrounding neighborhoods, towns, the county, and zip codes within your content. Also note, all right, to make content more relevant, add county, neighborhoods, zip codes to the content, visible or not. Also, outline areas served in schema. All right. All right. Now, let's address this. I think we've hammered this home as far as the density, the footers, the internal linking. Now let's talk about entity usage within the page. All right. So when I take a look at this page, another thing that we can do if we're going to refresh it, all right, is I would take a very strong look at locations. The reason is because locations and zip codes, neighborhoods and towns, counties, states, state abbreviations, these are entities. Relevance is rank, especially now. We want to associate our service with an area. To make a page more relevant, include those details we just talked about. Zip, county, neighborhood, town. It doesn't have to be visible. Also, I want to point this out to you. If you come on over here to Google, okay, come on into schema, all right. This is Google Search Central, all right. Over here on the left-hand side, what you're going to quickly see is featured guides. These are the schema types that get an enhancement. Alongside of this, I want you to really think about people, places, and things when you're picking which schemas to use, all right? What I mean by this is there a person that runs your business? Of course there is. Is there a person that wrote your content? Of course there is. It's the same expert that's doing the title registration. On top of this, breadcrumbs, right? This goes back to website. Website is an entity. We want to name our website, name our organization, have our local business on our homepage. Along with that, name your logo, name your pictures, utilize the schema types that are associated to entity usage. I don't want to drill into this too much. If you have trouble writing it or utilizing it, ChatGPT, Gemini, there's tons of assistance. All right. So with that being said, you can also click on this. Let's just say you need an example. You can always click on this, scroll down the page, and there's JSON LD. You could take their script and then go over to Gemini or ChatGPT and say, hey, I want you to include this logo. Here's the URL. I want you to include this name. Here's the URL of the picture. You with me? I can utilize information from the website to fill out the schema. Side note, there's also schemas now, or my mistake, there's also AI that, of course, is scraping the web. Grok is one of them. Utilize the tools that can go and get me live data. I digress, all right? Local business does not belong across the entire website. If you have more than one Google business profile, right, then that would mean that you have a headquarters or a flagship location. That flagship location probably points to your homepage, right? And it has for years. Point the local business to the homepage. That's your flagship. All other listings are organizational schema to internal pages. All right. Use schemas that emphasize entities. I cannot stress this enough. On top of that, just because it's not visible doesn't mean it's not there. Whether you use CSS, whether you use off-white on a white background, it doesn't matter. It's up to you as a webmaster, all right? Get zip codes, neighborhoods, towns, counties into your pages and watch your relevance go up. Now I'm optimal for every variation possible with one page. You with me? Especially when you're in a big city. So that's going to be the schema types. Outline areas in schema. Use entity-based schema on your pages. Use a web page, organization, image, video, web page, article, person, service, areas. Let me think to myself. Job opportunity. And since we've already done this, helpful hint. Here's a hint for you. Use fact check to verify your citations. All right. You want more citations to index? Fact check them yourself. You could fact check them within your schema markup. If you're utilizing your own PBN or mini network, or maybe you're working with somebody that's advanced, proposition them. Ask them, hey, can you help validate? What we have learned, especially recently, Google is utilizing data co-citation on the web, regardless of how authoritative. Yes, of course, Forbes and HuffPost and all of these types of posts are going to hold more weight. But you're able to get stuff to pop in AI results or snippets or change what Google thinks about you on websites that have no value at all. They can be relatively new. As long as you can fact check them, as long as it exists, as long as there's co-citation and there's more than one person saying it, Google will take it as facts. All right. So let's move forward. All right. All right. Almost done. At 5 o'clock, we'll be done. All right. Blogs. Now, I think we've already hammered home on the blog section. Yep. All right. All right. Author. Okay. Here, fill out your author bio. Talk about school, expertise, amount of time in industry. All right. I put up one page after having success with a dentist, right? I put up a page for myself. Here, watch this. If I go inside of here, we'll go into incognito. Okay. If I type in gray hat SEO, watch what Google associates with gray hat SEO. I put up 2 instances on the web co-citation. With that being said, now they're associating gray hat to me. Why? Because I put up multiple assets online utilizing co-citation, validating what I said on my site and what's being said across the web. Poof, it's given me this result. All right. Think about that for yourself. Okay. All right. So let's go back over here. Fill out your author bio. Talk about school, your expertise, how long you've been doing it, authority, trust, and expertise. Trust comes with time. So how long have you been doing it? Authority comes with time and consistency being the expert, right? So where'd you go to school? How long have you been doing it? What's your expertise? Your expertise needs to be whatever you're offering. All right. Again, the validation doesn't have to be that authoritative. The validation could literally be your social profiles, your podcasts, your assets that you control. But it has to show up more than once. All right. Verbatim. All right. Moving forward. All right. Let's go back over here. So the author bio, spell out your expertise, build out your bio, build out your expertise, your trust. Where'd you go to school? How long you been doing it? Put a face to the name. All right. Build face to the name. Think image schema, right? CHEMA. Entities, right? We're tying entities together. Oh, here's Zach. Zach works at this auto place. He went to school here. He's been in the industry here. Connect the dots, right? Anything that is tied to an entity. That's how Google's doing things, okay? They've spent the money. They've spent the time to literally put everything into a database. Anything that's meaningful is in a database. It's been coded, right? Same with searches. Every search is tracked. Every entity is tracked. It's been given a code. Topics, ideas, places, people, businesses, right? Entity usage. All right. Moving forward, I also want to point this out on the entity note. When updating pages, okay? It's a trick that we picked up very quickly. All right. You know how we've already talked about increasing density, increasing keyword usage within headers, the title tag, jack up your densities, include entities. But on top of that, when we're utilizing co-occurring entities, what I would highly recommend that you do is find the co-occurring entities from the top performers. Here's what I mean by this. When you're coming out here to see your top performing websites, say it's car registration San Diego. Okay. We come on down the list. All right. DMV. We can even go Yelp. All right. Bear with me here. I just want to show you something. Remember, people, places, things. So what people, places, or things, or topics, ideas are being utilized by top performers in the highest density. These are our co-occurring entities. These are the ones that move the needle for us. All right. So if we want to make an update, we want to do a page refresh, we want to do the least amount of work to get the best result, find what entities they have in common. Add those to the page at a higher rate. For instance, vehicle, DMV, California, registration, title, transfer, auto, perfect. We come inside of here. All right. It just so happens that those are all big primaries. Look down the list. San Diego, look, the other person wasn't saying that at high density. California, maybe there's an abbreviation. Car, auto, services. I think information is a topic, perhaps. Vehicle, what's being utilized in the highest volumes? That is an entity. Gather those up from the top performers, include those into your copy. Make sure that the densities are high, especially during a page refresh. This is a content strategy to keep you ahead of the curve. Keep your pages indexed. Keep Google looking at your pages. All right. So that's entity usage. All right. When updating pages, find entities that are co-occurring on top 3 sites, organic, and top 3 maps rankers. All right. What you'll find too, as far as maps is concerned and your websites, maps is still very, very important. You know how we just talked about validating, fact checking and validating through schema markup our own citations or our directories to get them indexed? What you'll tend to find is top performing websites. All right. For instance, this particular winner here, when you see a top performing website, 1.8, 2.4, let's say it's the Tag Clinic. All right. What you can do is you can come inside of here, go to their asset, find their address like this. Okay. Okay. Tags Clinic. We're going to put it in quotes. And yes, I have a tool. Yes, you can use Google search, custom search API. It's free. You can do all of this faster. I'm just showing you the process. All right. Take a look at this. You put Tags Clinic and in quotation marks, you can add the phone number, take it away. I'm just showing you the piece. All right. Scroll down the list. What we're looking for is which digital references, aggregators, citations, directories. What is the co-occurring directory that winners have in common? This is what you fact checked off of. That's what I would utilize, especially at first. If there's a page or a location that you really want, point the ones that they have in common, point to the page you want to rank, and then check it. Do a fact check. And then if that's not enough of a push, take that URL, that address, and put it out online. Co-citation online. It'll go for you. All right. Google's looking to connect the dots. The more you can connect the dots faster, the higher you rank now. All right. I see this a lot. I see this a lot. Figure out what's co-occurring. I digress. We'll move forward. Okay. I'm trying to give you as much as I can, Zach, and anyone else that is watching. We talked about anchor text, title tags, varying anchor text, getting rid of supporting content that doesn't support a high commercial intent page. If you're targeting locations, I see this a lot now, all right? If you're targeting locations and you're cannibalizing, or maybe your homepage is showing up, you have these pages, but only the homepage is showing up. You never know what Google's going to do tomorrow. For instance, we come into here, all right? Let's say you only do boat registration. I look down the list. You have 2, 4, 6, 8 different locales, but only your homepage shows up. I'm not saying that's what happens here. This is an example, right? Because I have a lot of business owners that have been coming to me lately saying, hey, look at this. What about the homepage? Should I just target the homepage? Yes and no. And here's my example. You never know what Google's going to do tomorrow. So in my opinion, what I would do is I would still go into the schema markup. I would still go into div tags, p tags on the homepage, talk about those locations, talk about those services, still have the page, but increase the density and word usage and relevance for those terms on the pages that Google's rewarding, right? Don't work against Google, work with them. I'm not saying get rid of, because tomorrow it could change again. I would include it into the page. All right. So let's move forward here. All right. Now, something else that I noticed, and this could be a side note, something to think about. When I did here, I'll show you something here. Performance. All right. When I did a check, it loaded at 3 seconds. This is relatively slow. I believe when I checked for plugins related to speed, for serving, for caching, I didn't see anything. 2 seconds is not what we want to see. We want to see about a second, 1.2, somewhere in that range. I would really take a look at either auto optimize, that's free. There's W3 cache, maybe increasing your overall server. Generally, the plugin is an additive. Everything starts at the server level, right? So increase your overall RAM, increase the amount of virtual cores that you're using. Address the server. Your time to first byte, your largest content painful, your first content painful, this should be faster, right? This is not what we like to see. Time to byte, yeah, 2.5. That should be a second or better, okay? So that tells me that it's server, okay? Because you don't have anything on your site. So take a look at your server. If you can increase CPU or RAM of VPS, or last case, get speed plugin to minimize, JavaScript, to defer JavaScript, to do better caching. It will help you out immensely. All right. Especially when everything's mobile first. When I came into this site and I noticed that the site is wildly different inside of mobile first as it is opposed to desktop, you need these to match. All right. If I'm visible on desktop, I'm visible in mobile. With that being said, when I take a look at this down in here, am I spending too much time with this? We've already addressed the footer. Never mind. All right. So we addressed increase RAM, get speed plugin. Loading at time to first byte 1.8 needs to be 1 sec or better. All right. So I know that's something small. So getting rid of the dead wood, increasing A tag usage. Don't double up pages, right? Like there's no reason to have 2 pages targeting the same thing. There's no reason to have an areas you serve when I have a car registration, or vice versa, right? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to have supporting content talking about car registration, but I'm pointing to a motorcycle page. If I want to have supporting for motorcycle, build supporting for motorcycle. Okay. Keep it 1 page, 1 idea, 1 topic. Also, do not create geo-modified supporting content. All right. Make evergreen, and because on an evergreen piece of information, what you'll notice lately is that Google is rewarding, they're doing dual serps. So dual intent serps. What do I mean by this? Think of best of about 6 months ago. Best of used to be a high commercial intent. Now it's of course going to be informational, and it'll serve inside of a commercial intent SERP. What do I mean by this? If I look up car accident lawyer in, say, Philadelphia, and I look at the SERPs here, let's scroll down the list. Car accident, car, Philly, call now, spread, brand. Now let's do best. Okay. And chubby finger me, don't worry about it. I don't have the screen up still, but I can almost assure you, we have a different sort order. And these are high commercial intent pages. Wow. Perfect example. Look at this. It's not information. It's not a listicle. These are high commercial intent pages. This is a dual intent SERP. Be mindful in your own industries. All right. With that said, my time is up. I wanted to give some time before it was homework time, right? We took a look at anchor text. Let's see here. let me just make sure I addressed everything. Anchors, anchor usage, update pages, updating the pages, entities, density, co-occurring entities / keywords, right? We talked about schema. We talked about which schemas to utilize. Footers, headers, speed, right? The speed in which the site is actually loading. On top of this, supporting commercial has one intent, right? If I'm supporting a high commercial intent page, it only has one. I have one purpose: support the high commercial intent to convert. All right. On top of this, mobile and desktop match. Okay. Along with that, unique service-based footers, no site-wide. Okay. I think that's the keynotes. All right. Oh, remove dead pages, remove errors, redirects, right? We do not want to call Google to a page that has no value. If the page is not valuable, it does not belong on the site. On top of this, unique entities per page, not just word usage, but image, postings, video. Very, very important. At least 2 per page. So let's see if you have anything that I need to address before I hit the road. I think I covered pretty much everything on a page refresh. Pages are not set it and forget it. You do your best. You put it up. What's great about on-page and schema markup is it's not backlinks. It doesn't take 45 days, 60 days, or longer. When I create my pages, I get them seen and crawled by Google. I get to see the fruits of my labor, not instantaneous, but relatively quick, right? On-page changes and schema changes, I see the benefits fast. It's just like traffic, all right? With that being said, let's just take a look at this, sitemaps. Okay. All right. Yep, make sure you're only submitting good pages. Are you separate these two? If you have multiple locations, you can separate them. Where's your author sitemap? If something's driving you crazy, you can remove it, but it's only tricking you, not Google, right? If I remove something or say, hey, take it out, it's just temporary. Okay. So you have to wait its course of time. If I remove a page and it's non-existent, 404 or I 410 it, it might not leave the SERPs for 6 months. So bear in mind that. Also, we talked about page refreshing. We talked about utilizing the most important digital references, right? I also want to point this out, okay? Aggregators not talked about, okay? And then I also want to point out one more piece, which is going to be co-citation and links pointing to all pages, all right? Let's talk about aggregators not talked about, okay? Now, everyone knows local aggregators for SEO, correct? Like, I believe everyone knows what a local aggregator is. You can get on sites like Axiom, Yext, Foursquare, Yelp, Monta, Localese. These are called aggregators. Foursquare is a really big one. With that being said, I would spend some time looking for lesser talked about, almost never talked about, data aggregators that aren't just for SEO or just for content or for local businesses, but for websites, for data in general. But more importantly, they have a third-party connection, never publicized, with Alphabet Inc. or Google LLC. What other aggregators can you associate with your sites that aren't often publicized? Moving on. let's take a look at the next step. Along with aggregators, take a look at meta verifications, okay? Verify with Pinterest, verify with Facebook, verify with Amazon, verify with Google, verify with your mail records. Verify. The reason why is at the end of the day, we're always trying to look like the winners because we are winners, right? When you take a look at the top performers in almost all the most difficult niches, they have something in common. They list their site on W3. They have accessibility. They have terms of service. On top of that, they've verified through Facebook. They've verified through all types of analytics. Take the time. Verify and validate your websites, all right, through Meta. With that being said, the next piece is co-citation and pointing to all pages. I want to point this out to you, all right? Google's primary job is what? Google's primary job, okay? We won't get into it because they have a lot of different jobs. But think about Googlebot. What's Googlebot's job? To see content, to crawl, and to index. When they crawl and when they index, what is unique to Google? How did Google blow? Because they crawl hyperlinks and then they associate sites that are similar to one another. I know this has changed, but what I'm getting at is this last piece or this last tip that I want to give you. Also create, okay, this right here, co-citations and links pointing to all of your pages. What I want you to think about is not only lesser known aggregators, but also what are high authority, free oftentimes, platforms that you can link to your website, whether it's no follow, do follow, I don't care. In order for Google to see value and to re-index, remember, the index is forward facing, called search results with a filter on it. And then there's the actual index, right? So if I can stay top of mind on the fresh servers, they call, like the hotline, right? If I can stay hot, if I can keep my asset hot, Google's always consistently coming back. I'll stay in the index. I'll stay seen. I might not always rank at the top. I might not be the best, but at least I'm in the runnings. When you're having trouble like this gentleman here, where you have 47 or 67 pages seen but not indexed, I checked on SEMrush before, you have no links pointing over. But a link is not just a link. Where is that link coming from? Is it on Twitter? Well, does your Twitter ride underneath your brand name? Is it often crawled? Do you have a podcast? Is it on Apple? Do you have a Google podcast? Right. Think about the assets that get crawled all the time, no matter what, whether it's follow or no follow. You with me? Get links, hyperlinks to pages that you want to be seen and indexed and crawled. All right. With that being said, my name is Chris Palmer with chrispalmer.org. I would like to answer some of your questions. If there's anything I was not clear on or something I could clarify for you, let me know. I'll go through these questions briefly. Saddam says, hello. Kalaji says, hey, Chris, love the content. Keep it up. I wanted to ask you for some advice. What free or very affordable tools do you recommend to use in order for optimizing fresh roofing website? Something that speeds up my process, Vero. There's lots of tools like this. One second. I just don't want to get it wrong. Oh, here. Give me 1 second. Vero SEO tool. On page. Man. In any case, there's a lot of C+ or very basic non-web application programs out there that are very reminiscent of SEO Quake, these types of Chrome extensions. It does all the math for you. It looks at the render DOM, but it's pulling out the precise information that you want. On top of this, you're able to take the things that are important for you and your niche. Because remember, high co-occurring key phrases on the homepage might be very effective in the personal injury space in LA. What about Houston? SERPs change, factors change, the power of a factor changes. So what's important for you, your industry, your geolocation, and look for a tool or create a prompt that will give you the answers that you're looking for quickly. All right. Especially with Meta and Grok. On top of that, there's GPT and Sheets. You can put everything that's important. All right. I digress. Let's move forward here. As far as in order for optimizing a fresh roofing website, again, get the blueprint, write out what's important for you, right? Word count, word density, entity usage, co-occurring key phrases, get something that can scrape and crawl, pull it in, and then make your optimizations from there. All right. There's lots of tools out there now, or you can just prompt it yourself. All right. With that being said, that's cheap and free sometimes. Kalaji says for on-page SEO, keyword research, citations, backlinks. Hey, Page Optimizer still does a good job. Keyword research, we like SEMrush. I also like an old school tool. It's called something Ninja, Content Ninja or Keyword Ninja or Sniper or something. Awesome tool. As far as backlinks, all the tools. There's lots of other databases out there though, or APIs that you can set up yourself and get fast crawls. With that being said, there's also tools like PowerSuite, but don't sleep on Ahrefs and SEMrush. I like SEMrush for links and for keyword research, but there are other opportunities. Okay. Best Bro, thank you, sir. Hey, Chris, I hope you're doing well. I am. You as well. Success Sprint says, hey, Chris, Tavanir here from Pakistan. It's off-topic question. Can you please tell us how to find the niche that can rank in specific area? Apologize for off-topic. One of the first things that I'm going to do is I'm going to see, is it home pages? Is it exact matches? Or is it internal pages? My next step after that is, if it's exact matches, is there more than one already in the top 10? On top of that, I want to go and take a look at the Wayback Machine and see how old, on average, are the winning sites. If every site is 5 years plus and I'm getting in with a brand new site, I'm never going to rank. Page age of internal pages and home pages. How old is it? Is it an exact match? Is there other players already doing it? And is there a high probability that Google is safeguarding it with ads? For instance, is it in the LSA list, right? Is Google making plenty off of this service that you're doing? So is it on that list? Do I have other exact matches? How old is the primary website that's out there? With these things in mind, then I can start making a better decision on, should I allocate more dollars or more time, or should I look elsewhere? All right. So, but that page age is big. Hopefully that helps you. Sue says, thank you for you, Chris. Could you explain linking up to your page? What is a simple way that I could create invisible location information? Sue, great question. So let's go over here to this gentleman's example on Zacks. All right. So we go in here to the blog, and let's just say that we are here. All right. So this is a page or a supporting article about title transfers. So we have multiple areas within the page that we can link. There's technically 4, but let's really focus on the body because it holds the most weight. So inside the body, you have the sidebar. You also have highly visible links, which could be right inside the body text, right? Like I could highlight this and make that text. But what we like to do is we like to make menus. So within WordPress, the content management system, they allow you to create menus. Within those menus, I can have as many as I want. I can make them custom, and I could put them sidebar, footer, header, whatever I would like, right? I could put them in the body. I can make table of contents, right? You with me? So with that said, I like sidebar inside the actual content as a menu or as a drop-down or an accordion. I like secondary footers, secondary headers. I hope that helps you out. Also, too, here, I'll show you this. This gentleman utilized one of our strategies. This is called an internal linking block. Okay. You don't have to put it inside of a block, but just having those links on the pages, it's good enough. All right. Hopefully that helps you out too. Any free tools, Chris, without taking much of your time? Free tools. Not off the top of my head. Nothing I can think of. I have found most things that start off free or are good, there has to be a cost associated with it. Plus, I want to pay because I want them to pay attention, right? I used to go for the lowest common denominator, but really what we're doing is we're trading our information, our data, our usage statistics, or our API connections in exchange to use the tool. I'd rather just pay the fee, right? So that's up to you. I'm sure there are, but not for me. Richest Domain says, AKA Couch G Day from sunny Arizona, Chris. Chris, you share so much. I need to be here on time. My phone had a pop-up to tell me you were online. Thank you, Richest. Good to see you, by the way. And lastly, appreciate it, Chris. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure. I'm Chris Palmer with Gray Hat SEO. We're on our way. So close. Looking to have a forum. On top of that, of course, monthly packages, services. But really, I also want to have the forum and the mini trainings inside of here as another brand. I'm looking to launch some tools off of here. So I think it'll be fun. All right. So with that said, if there's any other questions, ask in the section below. I'll see you tomorrow. It's been a